Hey, we're back, and I'm proud to say that we're now moving on to my featured guest, Ron Sanderson. Hey, do it now. Hey, whoa. Hey, just kidding, Dan. Hey, well, I'm excited about Ron because he's been worldwide. He's been all over the map, movies, documentaries, magazines. We're finally getting a one-on-one version of what it's actually like to talk with you. You had mentioned earlier, I read your book, just incredible writing. You had mentioned you were involved with a band for a while. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What was the experience there?
It was a pretty good experience. We were called the High on Forever, but in a Jesus sense, you know, where you're high on Jesus.
Yeah.
Instead of the worldly sense where you're high on anything you can get high on.
Yeah.
So we're a 3-man band, and we'd go around the United States. We'd go to Africa, other countries, and just play music. And we have goofballs like him showing up and listening to it.
He's an absolute goob.
People who, like Andy over there, who would listen to our music and smoke a little weed, but then he'd hear the gospel message, and there's just something about the way he reacts. He'd throw out his weed and get into harder drugs so it'd sound good again.
And it's that total reaction that a lot of people miss when they hear a band like you and your team. Now, I'm interested in knowing Dan. You mentioned Dan earlier. Look, he's a goob. We know he is.
Yeah.
For someone like Dan, he's the kind of guy, you walk into his home, and it's like he's got Hershey's chocolate in one set up in the form of a shrine or something. I mean, he's just way, way off. What would you say to a guy like Dan, who's trying to overcome this?
I say he needs a wife. One who will cook, clean, and do everything just in between.
You have no idea how many times I've told him that. But the movie that you're coming out with, that in particular just blew my mind. The guy came up to you, it's when you were dealing with people who were being admitted into Laureate. And this was a very sensitive issue when you first took the challenge. A lot of people took away the script. They said they didn't want it. But you took the opportunity to do it. What was that first initial reaction that said, yes, this is a script I can hold on to, being it so controversial?
Well, the issue of women in their mid-40s marrying men who are 20, and the men are just marrying for money, it just appealed to me. Imagine this. You're 20 years old, you're getting out of school, you have your whole life ahead of you, and yet you don't have any money. So you marry into this for a few years, take that money, put it in your wheelbarrow, and then go out and wheel it away.
I know. Just a horrible circumstance of events. But you come up in the movie, there's a circumstance, and this is one that I really like. I just like the movie in general. And Ron, I like you. Look, I want to say thank you for being on the show. It's always a pleasure. Ron Sanderson, ladies and gentlemen. What a guy. What a guy.
Films and Books by Jonathan Pierce. Download one today at thinkpierce.com.